Hey guys, how's it going? I just finished watching Rings of Power episode 6, and this is the first episode where something's actually happened, which is uh, which is fantastic and also super, what's the word, underwhelming. So this is a spoiler video. You've probably already watched it, and you've just come onto YouTube to watch someone have a whinge about it, which fair enough. Um, on a side note as well, I think that unfortunately I've started becoming one of those people that's hate watching the show, which I didn't intend to. When I first started watching it, I was like, I want to enjoy this thing, and then obviously 6 episodes in, and the show is not good. But I've because what's that thing called, the sunk cost fallacy, where you put in so much time into something and then you don't want to give up on it, even though you probably should. So this is kind of this situation where I'm going to keep watching it to the end, and then I probably won't watch the second season. But I'm gonna stick it out at this point. 6 episodes. There's two episodes left, and yeah. So this episode was about what happened. Trying to remember what happened. It was an hour of TV, and not a lot happened, even though it was an hour. So basically, the I don't know what they're called, the Southrons, the people with the tan elf and the chick and the boy called Theo, have hauled up in their little village that they're trying to protect for some reason. Even though there's about 5 buildings there, they're trying to protect it from the orcs, which doesn't make any sense to me. Why they can't just move somewhere else, maybe hide in the forest somewhere. They want to protect this land. Anyway, so they try to do like this. You can tell that the writer, director, whoever it is trying to create like a Helm's Deep scenario, which just it's bleh. It's super contrived. It feels really empty. The chick gives this speech that's very hollow, and every episode there seems to be some sort of motivational speech to a group of people. Someone's giving some sort of speech, and it always feels very like they're trying to elicit some emotion out of the audience, and it never does. It just falls flat. Like pretty much every scene in the show, it all just feels hollow. And I was thinking when I was watching it, it feels like someone got. You've probably seen those videos where someone's got an AI and they teach it. They put a script. They make it listen to 10,000 hours of some whatever it is, comedy special or an advertisement or whatever, and then the AI comes up with its own script. This feels like an AI was shown 10,000 hours of Lord of the Rings content, and then decided to make its own TV show. Anyway, I can't help shake that feeling that that's what's happened. But okay, so this Helm's Deep set up. These people, the Southrons, are trying to protect against these orcs. And there's a fight, and nothing exciting happens. There's like some really weird, like on paper it sounds cool, where they lure the orcs into this tower, and then the tan orc shoots a thing, and then a thing happens and locks them in, and then the building collapses on them, and they're supposed to die, and they don't. So that should have been real cool on paper. It just wasn't really, and then they end up hiding down, and then it's so boring. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just like trying to like get across what happened. So they're hiding in their like little village, and then they're waiting to ambush the orcs. And there's a bit where they basically shoot these carts with flaming oil in them, and then they trap them in like these 2 lanes of flame, and the orcs are in the middle, and then they're gonna like shoot them with arrows from the buildings, which sounds kind of cool. But then there's a bit where an orc just kicks over a little bit of wood, and then they run through it. So yeah, anyway, and then they find out that they've killed there's supposed to be like this, I guess it's like an emotional scene. I'm not really sure what they were getting at, where they find out that they're not orcs that they killed, but some of them were orcs, but most of them were the other villagers that decided to side with the orcs. They were dressed as orcs and they got killed. So that's supposed to be emotional, I guess. It just felt really awkward, and just, I don't know, the music swells up and you're supposed to feel like, oh my god, there's dead bodies. But anyway, And then, long story short, the orcs sort of capture them, and then the Numenorians turn up in this really weird like scene. Anyway, they turn up and then they kill them all. And then right at the end of the episode, the bad old dude shoves the sword into this rock hole, and then Mount Doom explodes. And it's like, there's the origin of Mount Doom, which I thought was weird. I didn't think we needed. I don't know. Did anyone want to see the origin of Mount Doom? Maybe. I was like, I have no idea how that's happened, but it's a thing. I don't know what the sword is for. Like, I mean, obviously the sword's to make Mount Doom. Why is Mount Doom a thing? Who knows? Okay, so this is. Nothing was exciting about any of the fights in this episode. It felt very like paint by numbers. They were trying to evoke that feeling of watching Helm's Deep and the helplessness. It was very much like the bit, when they're in the two towers in Helm's Deep, and they go back to the Hornburg or wherever it is, and then the orcs, the Uruk-hai, trying to smash down the thing, and then Theoden and Aragorn and stuff ride out, one last ride, and then Gandalf turns up with the rest of the Rohirrim, and then they come down the mountain. It's just like such a beautiful scene, and really impactful. The music, the John Howard score is so awesome, and then and then this is trying to evoke that same feeling. So you've kind of got a similar setup, and then you've got the Numenorians turning up at the last minute, and it's supposed to have that feel, and it just doesn't. And there's just like real cringe moments with like Galadriel, where she's like going along on her horse, and then someone throws throws a spear, and then she like slips to the side, and then like I can't even remember what she does, like just kills them while she's hanging off the side. And then someone else does that same move. They're like hanging off the side. I think there's like 3 shots of people hanging off their horses. Is that supposed to be cool? It just, I don't know. It's just super cringe. That's all I can say. It's supposed to be cool, but it's just so dumb. And then like Mount Doom explodes, and all the rocks are firing at them, they're coming down, they're killing people, and then Galadriel's just standing there like looking, not doing anything, and then the smoke envelops her, and then the end of the episode. I guess that was supposed to be a real cool cliffhanger. It wasn't cool. It was, I don't know, I just, the more I watch the show, the more it feels like the Wheel of Time. So if you've seen the Wheel of Time, I wasn't a fan. I think I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, because I'd heard that the book was really good. So I'd heard like this was this book series that everyone was like had been raving about for years, and I didn't really know about it. So I watched the show, and I was like, man, this is just like a Lord of the Rings ripoff. That's what it felt like. It felt like Lord of the Rings crossed with Dune, D-U-N-E, with like the Bene Gesserits and stuff. That's what those witches felt like. What would you call them? There's like a council of these powerful magic women. They felt like the Bene Gesserit. Anyway, watching this show, and I was like, oh man, this is like Lord of the Rings, but like real shit. Sort of a little bit Game of Thronesy as well. And then Rings of Power comes along, and I'm like, oh wow, this is like Wheel of Time, but shit. It's kind of what it felt like. Like if you showed me a trailer and you spliced in footage from Rings of Power, I would not be able to tell you if it was from Rings of Power or Wheel of Time. It's so, I don't know. And like there's this thing that they do in the show, and they keep doing it, and I feel like they need to stop doing it, because it's sort of, it just feels, I think I mentioned in the last video, where every character has to speak in this long-winded, flowery, sort of a poetic, almost like every line that they say is sort of meant to be, I feel like the writers are writing it down, and they're typing, and they're like, yes, people are going to eat this up. This is so quotable. This is so deep. Like there's a bit where Galadriel says to Halbrand, she says, drinking salt water won't quench your thirst. And because he goes to kill someone, and she says like, stop drinking salt water won't quench your thirst. And it's meant to be, it's meant to be deep, but it just, people don't speak like that. And I know, and like, the original Lord of the Rings film didn't have, like, there was the odd moments, but like they weren't, they're all well done, and it was really well written, but none of it felt forced. There was no moments that felt forced, and then this, everything feels forced, or that the writers are like, they're typing, they're like, oh my God, people are going to eat this up. People are going to love this. This is so good. And then it gets put onto screen, and it just seems like, I don't know. You know what I mean? You're watching this video because you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I just think that Amazon is going to be, like, the executives at Amazon are going to be like, man, we spent $30 million an episode on the show, and no one's like, this is not Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Because they wanted this to be Game of Thrones, and unfortunately it's just not. And I think that the only way they can turn this show around, which they can, like, shows can turn themselves around, is if they just fire the writers, get rid of the writers, get rid of the showrunners, and just new team, experienced team, and start from scratch. Basically, continue the plot, I guess. Like, you've got the first season, just start new team. Just like, you know what? I think I never thought I'd say this. I think the guys who did Game of Thrones could probably do a better job of the show than the people that are doing it now. 100%. Like, they could do a better job of this. It's just, it's bland. And also, Halbrand's 100% Sauron. There's no way he's not Sauron. They've set it up like he fully is. Like, I don't know why, because like there's a bit where, this was a bit that cracked me up, where he goes, the chick, the tan elf's girlfriend, she looks at him and she goes, "Are you the king?" He's got like a little purse with a picture of a horse or something on it. She's like, "Are you the king?" And he's like, "Yes, I am." And then everyone's like, "Hail the king!" And it was like, what? Like, wouldn't there be some sort of like, people would be like, "Who are you? Like, where have you been?" And also there was only like 50 people, like, king of the most shit king ever, like king of 50 people, like, wow. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. So he's clearly like, he's the king of the south, or that area. He's obviously Sauron, like that's what they've set it up for. Like, but no, like, so I don't want to compare this to House of the Dragon, which, oh no, I do like comparing it because they're pretty comparable. But like, House of Dragon is like, it's going along at such a pace. Like, every episode's like bam, bam, bam. There's always something really interesting. There's a lot of like good character interactions. None of the conflict is contrived. It all is very very clever conflict. It's all layered and nuanced. There's a lot of interesting character dynamics. Even when they changed the cast, like in the last episode, it was like a 10-year time jump. And I know some people weren't huge fans of it. I think it can be a little bit jarring if you've got these new actors, but I think they cast them really well. I really like the chick who's playing Rhaenyra. She's really good. And I think that it was just, that show's going to get really, I think, really juicy. I've not seen any spoilers and stuff, but I think it's going to be, stuff's going to happen in that show. So yeah, anyway. If you're watching Rings of Power and you haven't seen House of the Dragon and you were burnt by Game of Thrones, give this a try. Give House of the Dragon a watch. Don't bother with Rings of Power, because it's not very good. Basically, it's not very good. And House of the Dragon is really good. Whew, okay. On another thing, one more thing is, what is with this show and showing horses in slow motion? There's another scene, and it was like the Númenóreans coming on their horses, and it zooms in on the horses, and they're like running in slow motion, and it's just like, God, I thought we were going to get another flashback of Galadriel. You know that shot where Galadriel's got that real demented face on? I thought we were going to get another shot like that. We didn't, but it was definitely close. Actually, no, there was a scene. There was a scene that was really weird, where the Isildur, they're on the ship, and he's talking to Galadriel, who's for some reason wearing her armor on the ship. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Would you normally wear armor on a ship? Like, I feel like you'd wear normal clothes that are perhaps more buoyant, and then you'd change into your armor if you got off the ship. Maybe I'm wrong. Does anyone know? Comment below if you've ever been on a ship wearing armor. But he's talking to Galadriel, and then she's talking to him, and he stops and he looks at the sunrise, and he's like, "Oh my god!" Like he's never seen a sunrise before. I think that was what it was. I don't know if he was excited to see Middle Earth. I'm not sure why that would be so impactful for him. But anyway, he sees the sunrise in Middle Earth, and he's like, "Oh my god!" Like, he's so overwhelmed by it. I'm like, really? Wow. Okay. Cool. Easily impressed, apparently. Whew, okay, good to get that off my chest. I wish I wasn't hate watching this, but I am. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below, tell me what you think. Did you like this video? Do you like the show? Do you not like the show? And also, if anyone knows, this is a random one, but my camera is a Sony, like a camcorder. And when I open up the little viewfinder on the side, the camera doesn't turn on. It only turns on when I plug it in. And the battery's fine. I've checked the battery, but the camera still doesn't turn on. Does anyone have any experience with that? Any tips or anything? Because it's just randomly started doing that. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.